open border, and we've taken them out. The thing having to do with all of the elements in the great, big, beautiful bill, I'll tell you, it's amazing what we've done. $200 billion in costs for medical. What we've done, $50 billion for rural hospitals. And remember, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on... Think of all of these things that we've done. This is the biggest, this is the greatest bill. Social Security, no tax on overtime, but no tax on tips. I got that from a waitress in Nevada. I was making a speech, and I'm at one of my restaurants in the hotel I own there, and I say, how are you doing? Well, sir, it's terrible. They're taxing my tips. They're going, I wouldn't have even thought that. And I looked at it, and she said to me, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it one time more. No tax on tips. I walked outside to the press. I said, there will be no tax on tips. She was right. And we won that state by a lot. That's not a state that we win by that much, David, but we won it by a lot. So it was pretty good. But that bill is chock full of so many different things. So it was the biggest bill. I'm actually saying this to the fake news so that they maybe print it, but maybe not, because you people know. It was the biggest bill ever passed in Congress. And what we did was a little risky. We put everything into the bill, John, right? And some people were against it. They said, no, you got to do small bites. And we gave it a shot, and we got it passed. I got a call from John. He said, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, sir, we have 4 hard no's. Could you please call him? I said, what time is it, John? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, sir. So I call up. One of you is sitting right here. I said, Jim, could I say hello to you? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? He said, sir, you have my vote. I said, wow. Then I called up another person. I'll use fictitious names. Doug, could I get your vote? You've got it, sir. Then I called up another one. How about Josh? Could I have your vote, Josh? Because I like Josh. And Josh, who can be very difficult, said, sir, you have my vote. His wife was screaming at him on the other side. Sir, you have my vote. But I called people, and they weren't really hard-nosed. They wanted a little attention, unfortunately, at 4 in the morning. Sometimes I like the ones that don't like the attention, but we'll take it anywhere we can. And we got it passed, right, John? And nobody thought that could happen because you have a small majority. And in the how about in the House, we had a majority of 3. We actually went down after that for a period of about 2 months. We went down to a majority in the House of 1. And I kept saying, you know, because I'll tell you, Mike Johnson's great. The team, these 2 teams, did you ever see 2 people more different? One's tall, one's slightly less tall. We want to be polite. They are very different people, but they're the same in terms of talent. They did the 2 guys, and they get along incredibly well. We all do. We get along great. But we passed a bill. We don't need to pass any more bills. We got everything in that bill. There's nothing else we have to put. We got the largest tax cuts in history. We got the extension of the Trump tax cuts. We got all of these things. And, you know, remember, they lie. They will look at I saw it the other day, they were talking about, I call it the great, big, beautiful bill, but that's what it is, the great, big, beautiful, the biggest bill ever passed. And what they say, they make up stories. And I saw they were interviewing a senator, and they said, well, what's wrong with their bill? He didn't know what to say, because there's nothing he could say. It covers everything. He said, death, death. It brings death. Now, if I'm a regular person and I hear that, I say, oh, that's terrible. But it's just the opposite. It brings life. It brings Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. It secures all those things. And they just are so bad. You know, they said death. It was like death. And there's nothing about death. Theirs is death, because they're going to lose Medicaid. They're going to lose Social Security. They're going to lose Medicare. All of those things are going to be gone because the whole country would be bankrupt, and you're not going to have any kind of medical insurance. So with us, it's the opposite. And it's a great bill. We don't need any more. And I want to just say, from the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean, bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything. Car plants are pouring back into our country. AI plants, we're leading. We're dominating China right now in AI. And I did something that I think you'd like, because we have an old grid. It's a tired grid. It doesn't have the juice that you need to fire up these plants. You know, these plants will need more than double the energy we have right now for the whole country. That's how big it is. And we can't do that. There's no way we can do that. China's building right now 52 power stations. But I did something better. I'm letting everybody build their own power plant so they'll become like an electric utility in addition to AI. But if they want to build their own plant and we get their approvals within less than a month, it used to take 5 years prior to rejection. Sometimes a guy in Louisiana, they had one that took 12 years, and then they got rejected. I got it approved in 2 weeks when I got into office. That was the first term. And the plant is up now, and it's been a great thing for the state. I did it twice, actually. I got 2 of them that were dead after 12 years, and I got them approved, both of them, in less than a week. And that's what we're doing. Lee Zeldin, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job, Environmental Commissioner, I have to tell you. He knows that we have to get them fast, and we're getting them fast. So we're leading China in the AI race by a lot. Under Biden, Democrats voted 13 times for continuing resolutions to keep the government open. And all we want is simply to ask them to do it once again. They always voted for it. They never voted against it. Nobody votes against it. But they do that, and they do. It's partially my fault. I mean, I'm watching you, and I'm looking at all these great faces that I've seen, really great people. I think with few exceptions, a couple of you I don't like that much, but with few exceptions, great people. And you look at what they do, and you look at the game they play, and it's a horrible game. And, you know, we have the hottest country ever. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I say this, I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I was over in the Middle East, and the King of Saudi Arabia and others also said essentially the same thing. They said, you know, President, a year and a half ago, your country was dead. We never thought we'd see this. And right now, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world, which tells you about leadership, and that includes your leadership. So as you know, my door is always open to anyone. It's not like that AOC. How about her, where she said, she's talking about having rebellions and everything. She said, well, my door is always open. But she's not the leader. I'm sure the leaders felt very nicely about when she said her door is open. Who the hell wants to go into her door anyway? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's the one that started. You know, I remember, I'll never forget, she never took a course on the environment. And I watched her one day, and she was on television. She said, yes, our planet will be dead within 12 years. That was a long time ago. Our planet was supposed to be dead. Remember the 12-year theory? We were environmentally dead. Now, these people, they've got an agenda that nobody quite understands. The good news is they don't understand it either. They really have no idea. But the people do. The people understand. We're giving you the biggest tax cuts in history. All of these things, it all adds up that we should do fantastically well in the midterm. The only thing wrong with the midterms is that statistically, when you look, a president gets elected, and for some reason, and nobody, even the great John Thune, cannot explain to me, for some reason, even if he's a reasonably good president, and we've had success like nobody, but for some reason, you lose the midterms. I don't know why. I mean, the odds are tremendously against, like 92% or something. It doesn't make sense. If you have a great presidency, it only makes sense that you win the midterm. So there should be no reason for it. Somebody's going to explain there might be some dark, deep psychological reason where they want to vote the opposite way. I don't know what it is, but we have to win the midterms. Otherwise, all of the things that we've done, so many of them are going to be taken away by the radical left lunatics. I mean, we're going to end up with a communist mayor in New York. Can you believe it? A communist. Remember, I would always say, We will not have a socialist elected in our country. Remember, I say that all the time, and I was right. We skipped socialists. We got a communist elected, so I didn't tell a lie. I didn't tell a lie. I was right. We'll have a communist, not a socialist. But we've already seen the impacts of the dangerous game that they're playing. Democrats are causing delays in our air traffic control system. So important. We wouldn't have had, you know, this Pete Buttigieg, he spent billions of dollars on fixing the air traffic control that used copper wire going into glass wire. Any union electrician here or any non-union electrician would say you can't hook copper into glass. It doesn't work. They spent billions of dollars. They turned on the system, and it was stone cold blank. We're getting a brand new system. We have bids out now. We have 3 great companies bidding. And I want one bid. Sean Duffy's doing terrifically. I want one bid. I want just bid, and they're responsible for everything. Not where you had, they had like 1,000 contractors. Every contractor, they were all running around. In the end, if one of them does a bad job, we want to be able to blame somebody, and it's going to be one of the very big companies because there's a lot of interest in it. So the air traffic control system is going to be rebuilt. Over 1 million federal workers right now, as you know, are going unpaid. That's the Democrats' fault. And children, tourists, unable to visit the museums in Washington, D.C., that we now have beautiful, safe streets, but we don't have the museums open. We should probably just open them. But we are doing things that nobody's ever done, nobody's ever seen. So all of this and the pain that the Democrats have caused during this reckless and completely unnecessary affair, and you could call it the Schumer shutdown or the Democrat shutdown, you can call it whatever you want. And I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it. And by the way, thank you. You're doing a great job, I have to tell you. So really a great job. Because many of the things that they're cutting, like the New York project, $20 billion, we're cutting it. They're not going to get it back. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of things back. They may not get it back. Maybe we'll talk to them about it. But they're losing all the things that they wanted. But many of the things that they wanted are things that we don't want. Things that are just so bad for our country. And we're cutting those things out. So while they thought they were doing maybe bad, maybe indirectly they're doing good. The cynical comment that they've made all over the place, and all of their cynical remarks proves beyond all doubt that Schumer is a calculating political partisan, but we knew that. But he's somebody that's in deep trouble. He's losing in all of the polls. He's even losing to AOC +3. Remember +3? What happened to the +3? Are they still around? I had one. I met when I was at the United Nations, I met the president of Somalia. And I said, I have somebody I'd like to give back to you. He said, no, thanks. We don't want her. He didn't want anything to do with her. But today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back. In the greatest moment in the history of our country in terms of wealth, in terms of job creation, and in terms of investment coming in, these guys go on strike. It's really a shame. So I'm asking them to be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing. And with that, I just want to say welcome to the White House. When we're finished, they do a great job. When they're finished, we're going to all come in. It'll be a little crowded, but that's okay. Into the Oval Office, we'll talk a little bit, a couple of minutes. Got some interesting things. And I think I'd like to have, if I could, John come up and say a few words, and we can close it out. And by the way, this is an open mic. It's open to the world. I think they can hear me out on the street. If anybody wants to come up and say after John, say it. We're all friends, and you can speak your heart out. But we've got to get our government open, and the Democrats are trying to keep it closed. Thank you. John, please.
Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. Well, Mr. President, thank you for having us. This is the 4th week of the Democrat shutdown, but we are all here today because your Republican team in the Senate is unified. We are This is now the longest full shutdown in history, but everybody here has voted now 11 different times to open up the government, and we are going to keep voting to open up the government, and eventually the Democrats, hopefully sooner or later, are going to come around. But, Mr. President, your agenda is the right one for this country. This is your team. We are your partners in achieving and implementing the agenda that you campaigned on and the American people voted for. And you just mentioned it has been a series of promises made and promises kept, whether it's national security, whether it's the border, whether it's the economy, taxes, regulations, energy, Trump newborn accounts, school choice. You look at what we've accomplished so far. It is a remarkable, remarkable team and a record of accomplishment that can't be matched. And I would argue, at least in my time here, but perhaps in all of history. So thank you for your leadership, and we will continue to be good partners and work with you to get the work done for the American people. And let's hope that the Democrats get wise and starting perhaps even today, vote to reopen the government so we can get back to work for the American people. Mr. President, thank you for having us at your home. You have beautiful homes, and thank you for everything you're doing to make this such a beautiful place. This is America's house. We're delighted to be here. Thank you.